From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, December the 15th, 2020. A delegation of social activists, academics, and opinion makers from the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain are in Israel, some 4 months after the signing of the historic Abraham Accords between the countries and the Jewish state. This first social delegation to Israel was honored with lighting the 5th Hanukkah candle at the Western Wall in Jerusalem's Old City last night. They later met with Israel's President Reuven Rivlin at his residence in the capital. Rivlin shared video from the meeting and tweeted that the group's visit was another step towards our good and warm relations.
When we are talking about peace, it's people to people.
It's a new era, and we're so happy for it.
And let's look forward that you will be the bridge to bring a lot of understanding between all the people in the region. It is a real pleasure. God bless all of you and welcome.
Thank you. Yes, bless you, Your Excellency.
The group, led by Amit Derry of the Sharaka Partnership, also visited Israel's memorial to the Holocaust, Yad Vashem, which Derry noted has been closed because of the coronavirus pandemic, but was opened specially for the group, and the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, both with tour guides fluent in Arabic. The delegation also spent time in Tel Aviv and in northern Israel in the Golan Heights. They shared videos on social media of their warm reception from Israelis, including this video of how they were greeted at the Western Wall yesterday.
Can you imagine the amount of love? Can you see something like this elsewhere? It's amazing.
Derry, who is CEO of the organization Reservists on Duty, told JBS there was a peace agreement between the leaders of the countries, and now we are making connections between the people of the countries. The Times of Israel reports that a joint U.S.-Israeli delegation is set to visit Morocco, the latest Arab country to normalize ties with Israel. The Times cited a senior U.S. official who said that the group will take the first ever nonstop flight from Tel Aviv to Rabat next week. The U.S. delegation will reportedly be led by White House senior advisor Jared Kushner and envoy Avi Berkowitz, and will arrive in Israel next Monday. And then Tuesday, together with Israel's national security advisor Meir Ben Shabbat and other Israeli officials, head to Morocco to advance the agreement announced of full diplomatic ties between the two countries. Israel's Missile Defense Organization, part of the Ministry of Defense, together with the U.S. Missile Defense Agency, successfully conducted testing of a new version of the David's Sling weapon system, as well as of the Iron Dome missile defense system, through several live-fire intercept tests today in central Israel. Defense Minister Benny Gantz said, "I commend the successful test, which for the first time assessed the combined interception capabilities of the multi-layered air defense system of the State of Israel." He said this is one of the most advanced air defense mechanisms in the world, and it protects the state from threats near and far. And Gantz extended his deep thanks, he said, to our partners in the U.S. Department of Defense, the U.S. Missile Defense Agency, the U.S. government, and the U.S. Congress, which support the State of Israel in the development of these systems and aid us in ensuring Israel's security and operational superiority. 252 new immigrants, or Olim, from India arrived in Israel today. Members of the Bnei Menashe community come from the northeast region of the country that have kept the Jewish tradition for generations. Their special charter flight was made possible by Israel's Ministry of Aliyah and Integration and the Shavei Israel organization. Israel's Aliyah Minister Pnina Tamano-Shate said this Aliyah was a top priority for her. She said, I will continue acting on behalf of the Bnei Menashe community to ensure and expedite the aliyah of the remaining members of the community in India. Shavei Israel founder and chairman Michael Freund said, as we celebrate the festival of Hanukkah and the miracle of the flask of oil, the aliyah of the lost tribe of Bnei Menashe after 2,700 years of exile is itself a modern-day Hanukkah miracle. The story of this unique community, he said, that maintained its connection to the Jewish people and the land of Israel down through the generations is powerful and inspiring. Well, Rio de Janeiro welcomed its long-awaited Holocaust Memorial this weekend. It includes a 72-foot-tall tower, which overlooks the beautiful Sugarloaf Mountain. Government officials and Jewish community leaders took part in the inauguration ceremony on Sunday, including Brazil's Secretary of Communications, Fabio Weingarten, who is Jewish himself, and a grandson of Holocaust survivors. He said, my grandmother had a number tattooed on her arm, and what she told me I will never forget. We cannot forget the atrocities of the Holocaust. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu shared a video message that played at the ceremony, saying, it's my hope that this new memorial will serve to strengthen awareness of the Holocaust to this generation and for generations to come. The memorial will host and educate school children about the Holocaust and tolerance and collaborate with other institutions like Yad Vashem and the U.S. Holocaust Museum. The memorial was initiated and worked towards for decades by the late Gerson Berger, a member of the Rio City Council. His son Ari said at the ceremony that his father fought to leave a legacy for humanity. The memorial, he said, is a dream come true. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, December the 15th at 7 o'clock. Rabbi Jeffrey Middleman talks about the power of collective memory in both Jewish culture and Jewish history. At 8 o'clock, it's the Jake Ehrenreich Show with singer Julie Budd. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Israeli celebrity chef and food critic Gil Chovav on L'chaim. And then at 10, a replay of Gil lighting the sixth candle tonight. At 10:30, Thane Rosenbaum talks about his book, How Sweet It Is. And coming up next, Mark Golub speaks with one of Israel's leading respiratory specialists, Dr. Neville Berkman, director of the Institute of Pulmonology at Hadassah Hospital, who explains why you should get a COVID vaccine, that the risks of not getting vaccinated far exceed the negligible risks in taking it. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, December the 15th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well, and Chag Sameach.